Only 2 teams in NBA history have ever done this, and the Cleveland Cavaliers might be the scariest of them. This Cavs regular season isn't just great, it's historic. They recently recorded their 3rd separate 12-game winning streak in a single season, a feat only the 67-win Dallas Mavericks had previously accomplished during the 2006-07 season.
Terry for 3, no good. Nowitzki gets up.
But while those Mavs were the NBA's top seed by 6 wins and had MVP Dirk Nowitzki, they collapsed in the first round of the playoffs against the 8th-seeded Golden State Warriors. Unlike that Dallas team, the Cavs are built to withstand the postseason because they've completely transformed their defense. The craziest part? They adapted and molded this system throughout the season because of one player everyone thought was a weak link. For the 3rd time this season, the Cavs have strung together at least 12 straight wins, a feat that speaks to both their dominance and consistency. They opened the season with 15 consecutive victories, followed by a brief 6-4 stretch before rattling off another 12-game winning streak. After a 7-6 skid, they're now riding yet another 15-game heater. Cleveland's offense is unstoppable. Their defense, absolutely destructive. A major turning point came in early February when the Cavs made a crucial trade for DeAndre Hunter, and since then, they haven't lost with him in the lineup. Hunter has been the perfect addition to an already deep and well-balanced squad, giving them a switchable wing who can comfortably defend positions 2 through 4, score from anywhere, and stretch the floor alongside Cleveland's core 4, Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Donovan Mitchell. And if one of those 4 needs to sit, no problem. Hunter can slide into the starting lineup at almost any position, thanks to the Cavs' incredible versatility. Oh, and he's fully capable of exploding offensively. Just ask the Trailblazers, who watched him drop 32 points in early March. In that game, Hunter played a key role in a come-from-behind overtime win, helping erase an 18-point deficit.
Wait for an Allen screen. Get picked up by Reed. Find Allen. Allen back to Hunter. Hey!
The trade for Hunter was the latest step in Cleveland's grand strategy, something head coach Kenny Atkinson calls stockpiling wings. Since January, the Cavs have added 3 more rugged physical defenders, either through trades, scrap heap signings, or by welcoming back Dean Wade after a month-long injury absence. There's a clear reason behind this approach. As many have pointed out, when the Cavs struggle, it's often because they get pushed around on the perimeter. While Garland 6'1" and Mitchell 6'3" are elite talents, their size makes them vulnerable against bigger backcourts. But everywhere else, Cleveland is huge. They've already figured out how to maximize the twin tower pairing of 6'11" Jarrett Allen and 6'11" Evan Mobley. Now they've bulked up even more. DeAndre Hunter 6'8", Dean Wade 6'9", Max Strus 6'5", Isaac Okoro 6'5", even Ty Jerome is 6'5", their backup point guard having a career season, who is also making a case for 6th Man of the Year. Whether by design or coincidence, the Cavs have surrounded their backcourt with size and length, making it much harder for opponents to exploit their guards. It's about the wings, but it's also about their defensive prowess, Atkinson explained. If you do have a smaller guy or weaker defender, you want to support that with bigger guys around him and better defenders. So maybe when Darius is out there, you're thinking, how can we help him a little? That's definitely part of the lineup thing and understanding who you have out there.
Garland backs up. He looks to set up Beasley. Now works in toward Durr, and he scoops it up.
Even with strong defenders around him, Darius Garland's size will always make him a target for bigger, more versatile teams. Opponents actively seek him out when the Cavaliers are on defense. It was a glaring issue in last year's playoffs, and it's been a challenge again this season, especially when Cleveland faces their top competition in the East, including the defending NBA champion Boston Celtics. Last season, the Cavs tried to hide Garland defensively. This year, that's no longer the plan. I just told him I don't want to hide him anymore, Coach Atkinson said after the Cavs' comeback win over the Celtics on December 1st. It's playoff-level basketball, and he's got to accept the challenge. He's smart, he's fast, he's strong. I don't see why he can't be a really good defender, and he's showing he can be. That night, Boston repeatedly hunted Garland in switches, trying to force him onto Jason Tatum. Tatum had plenty of success, finishing with 29 points, but Garland held his own just enough to allow the Cavs to overtake Boston in the final 2 minutes. Helped, of course, by Donovan Mitchell's 20-point fourth quarter. They literally picked on him every single play, Atkinson admitted. That's their style of play. And this goes back to me watching the playoffs last year. I think the previous coaching staff did different things to hide him. And my point to Darius, we're not hiding you, you're good enough. Accept the challenge. Aside from being healthier and stronger than last season, Garland is now benefiting from specific defensive tactics designed to counter teams that relentlessly target him with on-ball screens. One of those tactics is called the veer switch, also known as a late switch.
And grab 8 big rebounds. Cavaliers have been coming at teams in waves.
This is an extension of drop coverage, where instead of the point-of-attack defender fighting through the screen to rear-view contest the ball handler, he veers back toward the screener, challenging his legs, so to speak, to disrupt an incoming pass or slow his drive if necessary. At the same time, the big man switches onto the ball handler. This tactic has become increasingly popular because it briefly clogs the paint, contests the ball handler, and disrupts the offense's rhythm. It's even more effective when backed by elite defenders in drop coverage, and Cleveland has 2 of the best in Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. So if opponents try to hammer Garland by using screens set by Allen or Mobley's assignment, they're only inviting a stronger defender into the play. Another tactic the Cavs have deployed with great success this season is the peel switch. A peel switch happens when the primary defender gets beaten off the dribble. Instead of scrambling to recover, the nearest help defender switches onto the ball handler while the original defender peels off to cover the open player. The advantage: it eliminates having 2 defenders on the ball at once while keeping the rest of the team matched up. When executed correctly, peel switching can shut down dribble penetration, disrupt pick and roll reads, and muddy up an offense's ability to create drive and kick looks. The key to pulling it off? Strong communication, a reliable backline, and multiple high-level wing defenders. The Cavs have all 3, Allen and Mobley anchoring the backline, a committed and coordinated team-wide defensive effort, a deep collection of physical, switchable wings committed to executing the scheme. With these adjustments, Cleveland has transformed its defensive identity. Rather than trying to hide Garland, they've built a system that insulates him, forcing opponents to work harder for every advantage. The Cavs have stockpiled size and length, and they know exactly how to deploy it. That's why they have a legitimate chance to overcome Garland's defensive limitations and become a rarity in the NBA. A team with 2 small guards that wins the title. Going back to 1980, only 3 teams have won a championship with both starting guards measuring 6'3" or shorter. The Detroit Pistons did it twice, in 1989 and 1990, with Isaiah Thomas at 6'1" and Joe Dumars at 6'3". The 1983 Philadelphia 76ers pulled it off with a 6'1" Morris Cheeks and a 6'3" Andrew Toney.
The rebound, he's short down court. Actually, Andrew Toney.
If you're looking for a good omen, every team that has won a title with small guards had players who measured the exact same height as Garland and Mitchell. That said, the '83 Sixers also had Julius Erving and Moses Malone, 2 dominant superstars who combined for 3 consecutive NBA MVPs. That makes the Pistons the only team in the past 35 years to win a title when their top 2 players were both small guards. The closest modern example would be the 2019 Toronto Raptors, who often played 6 feet tall Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet together. But that team also had a 6'6" long-arm Danny Green as its starting shooting guard and Kawhi Leonard at small forward, who in his prime was one of the greatest on-ball wing defenders of all time. The Raptors' front court featured Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, one a former Defensive Player of the Year, the other one of the league's top shot blockers in the 2010s. By that logic, the Cavaliers find themselves in a similar position in terms of defensive prowess in their front court. Jarrett Allen is a dominant rim protector, and Evan Mobley is one of the frontrunners for Defensive Player of the Year now that Victor Wembanyama is shut down. But the Cavs' biggest advantage? Their strength in numbers at the wing. They're no longer just relying on Mitchell as their sole elite player, though not because of any decline in his ability. Let's not get carried away and compare Mobley and Allen to Erving and Malone, but they are stars in their own right, more than capable of impacting both ends of the floor. Mobley isn't just excelling as a defensive stalwart and interior scorer. He's expanded his game to the perimeter, emerging as a 3-point threat and a high-post playmaker.
As Garland grabs the loose ball, Nelson's gone from his Mobley down the lane, thunders at home.
He's an all-star, averaging 18 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists while shooting 36.5% from deep. A big who can push the break, initiate offense, and anchor a defense? That's an incredibly rare skill set. For now, Max Strus remains the starting wing next to Mitchell and Garland, rather than DeAndre Hunter. Atkinson explained that Strus has built trust and chemistry over 2 seasons in Cleveland, and that the team's advanced metrics with him in the starting lineup have been overwhelmingly positive. From a basketball standpoint, it makes perfect sense. Strus' reputation as a shooter forces defenders to track his movement, and Cleveland has found ways to weaponize him as a relentless off-ball threat, constantly shifting sides of the court within the same possession. He plays a key role in their dribble handoff packages with one of the bigs. And as a ghost screener with either guard, he sprints through the action rather than setting a traditional pick. This brief moment of defensive confusion can create an open lane for a drive, a quick three-pointer, or an opportunity to make a play for a teammate, forcing the defense to keep up until it eventually breaks down. While Strus is doing his thing in the starting lineup, another lethal shooter is leading Cleveland's deep bench. After playing fewer than 15 total minutes last season, Ty Jerome is now making a strong case for 6th Man of the Year. He's on pace to join the elite 50-40-90 club, shooting 50% from the field, nearly 44% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line.
Jerome, perilously late in the shot clock, gets it off and gets it in!
Since the three-point line was introduced in the 1979-80 season, only 9 players have ever hit these marks. Larry Bird, Steve Nash, and Kevin Durant are the only ones to do it multiple times, with Durant being the most recent in the 2023-2024 season. The only Cavalier to ever achieve 50-40-90 was Mark Price in 88-89. To qualify, a player must hit at least 300 field goals, 82 three-pointers, and 125 free throws, and both Jerome and Darius Garland are currently on track to meet those criteria. That says a lot about the depth of this Cavs team. But just like Max Strus, Jerome is far more than just a standstill shooter. He's a crafty ball handler, has one of the smoothest floaters in the league, sees the floor exceptionally well, and he has been huge in clutch situations. None more impressive than his 15-point fourth quarter against the Memphis Grizzlies. With Darius Garland out, the Cavs needed every bit of Jerome's scoring and playmaking to pull off the win and keep their current streak going. This team was projected to win 48 games at the start of the season, a mark they surpassed before even entering March. They made no major roster changes in the offseason after losing in the second round of the playoffs, and the biggest move they did make was replacing J.B. Bickerstaff with Kenny Atkinson, who has taken a team that was already on the rise and pushed it even further. "Everything's kind of gone our way, right?" Atkinson said. "We have great talent, great continuity, great togetherness. There's luck when you do that. There has to be, because it's so hard to win in the NBA." Nobody expected the Cleveland Cavaliers to break the league this year. But if you're not paying attention now, you might look up in May and wonder how they made the conference finals. Do you think the Cavs' improvements and depth can fuel a deep playoff run? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more in-depth basketball stories and analysis.